question here is, why do we have this concept of the occultation, the Ghayba? Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, in the very first part of the Quran, right after Surah Al-Fatiha and Surah Al-Baqarah, Allah talks about the muttaqeen. What quality does Allah establish for the muttaqeen when He talks about their iman and faith? Alladhina. See, Allah can describe the mu'mineen in many, many ways. There are many attributes. But Allah chooses to start like the Quran, right? With Surah Al-Baqarah. With what quality? الَّذِينَ يُؤْمِنُونَ بِالْغَيْبِ. The fundamental pillar of Iman is to believe in the unseen. Now, what's the biggest example of believing in the unseen? Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. We all believe in Allah, though we don't physically see Him. The Ghayba is one dimension of believing in the unseen. But that's how you're tried. Allah tries the mu'min through the unseen. It's very easy to believe in something that's tangible. If I tell you believe in this pencil here, that it exists, does anybody have trouble except the one who's blind, of course, who can't see it? That's easy, that's tangible, that's not a test. When Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala tests you, He tests you with unseen factors. Belief in the Mahdi and the concept of a hidden Imam represents one of the dimensions of Ghayb, one of the dimensions of the unseen. And that's part of being tried. Now Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala gave us proofs and evidences throughout history. 124,000 prophets, books after book after book. The last of them, the Quran, Allah completed religion. Now that Allah gave humanity the tools, He gave them what? The longest absence. Because now we're ready for it. We have all the tools to keep us on the right path and to keep us in faith. So believing in the hidden Imam represents a type of Ghayb. And that's a quality of the believers. It's the highest form of being tested. If you're going through a test, Allah starts your test with tangible factors. Once you ascend and ascend and ascend, then it becomes intangible. Just like in our colleges and universities, right? A kindergartner or a preschooler, do you give them abstract problem solving to do? No, because they're not ready for it. You give them tangible things to deal with, right? Then once you prepare them and they're at a higher intellectual level, then it becomes abstract, right? Isn't this how we progress in our lives? Same concept here. The Ghayb and the unseen represents that abstract dimension. So this is one aspect of why we have the Ghayba. The second reason is to appreciate the leaders of Allah. Allah sent us leaders after leaders, prophets after prophets. Many prophets were killed. The Quran says, it talks about the Bani Israel, how they would kill prophets left and right. One hadith states sometimes 70 prophets would be killed between sunrise and sunset. 70 prophets in one day would be killed. All the Imams of Ahlul Bayt, what happened to them? Killed, murdered, one after the other one. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala saved the last one. Until humanity starts acting, properly and starts behaving and accepting the leaders of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. That's one philosophy behind the Ghayba. Allah says, you'll kill the leaders I sent you? I'll take the last one. Here, you figure things out. You don't want the leaders? See, from day one, Allah's plan was to put a Khalifa on earth. Humanity said no. And they fought those Khalifas, whether prophets or successors or Imams. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, with the Mahdi, what did He do? Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala put him in hiding. Essentially, Allah is telling us, okay, you human beings, you're arrogant, you think you can figure everything out? Tfaddalu, let's see. 1,400 years and the world is in a mess. And we can't figure it out. Have we solved poverty? Have we solved injustice? What have we solved really? Show me one thing we've solved. One thing. Yes.
So Sayyid, the Ghayba al-Sughra could be like a test if you are ready or not, and then when God found that they're not ready at that time.
It was a test and also a transition into the major Ghayba, yes. So humanity was not ready. We have, by the way, ahadiths indicating once human beings collectively around the planet admit to their failure and that we can't rule ourselves, we can't establish justice, Allah will allow the Mahdi to come out. But today the world is arrogant, Look at them. They think they rule earth and they could do everything and they could write the laws. Now the third reason, and it goes with the second reason, is to protect the Hujjah of Allah. Had the Mahdi, not gone into the Ghayba and the occultation, the enemies were looking for him to kill him, to assassinate him. In fact, they raided his house, the Bani al-Abbas, because they had some doubts that Imam al-Hasan al-Askari had left a child behind. They had some doubts, so they came and they raided the house to kill him. So Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala wanted to save this final successor. So the Ghayba, one philosophy behind it is to save the representative of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. So there are a number of reasons why Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala had the Mahdi in the Ghayba. In our next class, we will examine the evidence that he was born. Do we have any evidence that he was born? Because this is a point of contention between the Sunnis and the Shia. Some Sunnis accept, there are 40 Sunni scholars who believe that the Mahdi was born. Some of them even believe he's the son of an Imam al-Askari, alayhi salam. But the majority Sunnis don't believe that he's born yet. They say one day he will be born. Whereas we, the Shia, we insist that he was born. Do we have any sahih hadiths, any evidence that Imam al-Mahdi ajjalallahu ta'ala farajah was born? So we'll examine the circumstances that surrounded his birth, and then we'll continue with other very important discussions on the Mahdi. Wa sallallahu ala Muhammadin wa alihi at-tahirin.